Welcome to the world of the most unusual and shocking professions. Have you ever wondered about people who make a living by performing the strangest and most unexpected tasks? In this video, we'll embark on an exciting journey through the world of labor, where reality surpasses the boldest fantasies. From dog food tasters to professional armpit sniffers, we'll tell you about jobs you never even knew existed. Get ready to be amazed, laugh, and maybe even feel a little envious of those who have found their calling in the most unexpected places. So, fasten your seatbelts and prepare to dive into the world of the most shocking professions. Let's go! Imagine this. Every morning you come to work, sit down at a table, and a plate is placed in front of you, with dog food. Your task? To taste it and evaluate its flavor, texture, and aroma. Doesn't sound very appetizing, does it? But why is this necessary? The fact is that pet food manufacturers strive to create a product that will be not only nutritious, but also tasty for our four-legged friends. And who better than a human can evaluate all the nuances of taste? Of course, dog food tasters don't swallow large portions. Usually, they take a small amount on their tongue, assess the taste and texture, and then spit it out. It's similar to wine tasting, only instead of an exquisite beverage, it's dog food. It's important to note that these professionals are not limited to just taste sensations. They also evaluate the smell of the food, its appearance, and even the sound it makes when chewed. All these factors are important for creating a product that dogs will like. Despite seeming strange, this profession requires serious skills and knowledge. Tasters must have an excellent sense of smell and taste buds, as well as a deep understanding of dogs' needs and preferences. Of course, this job is not for the faint of heart or picky eaters, but for those who love animals and aren't afraid of unusual challenges. It can be an exciting and even well-paid career. So the next time you feed your pet, remember, someone may have tasted this food before your dog to make sure it's really delicious. Imagine a job where you balance on the edge between life and death of thousands of people every day. No, it's not a neurosurgeon or a bomb disposal expert. It's a bird repellent specialist at airports, a profession few know about, but on which the safety of every flight depends. A collision between an aircraft and a bird can lead to catastrophic consequences. Picture this: a huge metal machine, flying at hundreds of kilometers per hour, collides with a small bird. It might seem insignificant, but the reality is shocking. A bird can puncture the aircraft's fuselage, damage the engine, or shatter the cockpit windshield. And this is where they come in, the bird repellent specialists. Their task is to make the airport territory as uncomfortable as possible for birds. But how to do this without harming the animals? The methods they use might seem crazy. Imagine a person running along the runway with a huge bright orange flag, or a specialist controlling a drone that mimics a predatory bird. How about an employee who plays recordings of predator cries, or distress birds at full volume? But the most shocking is the use of birds of prey. Yes, you heard right. Some airports employ real falcons or hawks that patrol the area and scare away other birds. The job of a bird repellent specialist requires not only physical endurance, but also deep knowledge of ornithology. They must be able to identify different bird species, understand their behavior, and migration patterns. After all, each species requires a different approach. But the scariest part of this job is the awareness of responsibility. One mistake, one missed flock of birds, can cost hundreds of human lives. It's constant tension, constant stress that's impossible to switch off even after the workday. So the next time you're flying on a plane, remember those invisible heroes who do everything possible to make your flight safe. People who wage a continuous war with nature, balancing between human safety and animal care. Bird repellent specialists, one of the strangest and most important professions of our time. Imagine a profession where your colleagues are millions of bloodthirsty insects craving your blood. No, this is not a horror movie. This is the reality of a mosquito trainer for scientific research, one of the most unusual and dangerous professions in the world of science. Every day, these brave individuals voluntarily subject themselves to thousands of mosquito bites. But why? The answer is shocking: to teach mosquitoes to bite on command. Yes, you heard that right. Scientists train mosquitoes like circus animals, but instead of tricks, these insects learn to drink blood on schedule. The process of training mosquitoes is a real nightmare for people with insectophobia. Imagine a laboratory filled with millions of buzzing insects. The trainer, dressed in a special suit that protects the entire body except for a small patch of skin, enters this room. Their task is to teach mosquitoes to associate a certain signal, for example, light or sound, with the opportunity to get food. But the most shocking thing is that the food in this case is the trainer themselves. Yes, these people voluntarily allow mosquitoes to feed on their blood. And they don't just allow it, they actively encourage this behavior so that mosquitoes learn to respond to the signal. Why are trained mosquitoes needed? The answer may surprise you. These insects are used for testing new repellents and vaccines against malaria and other mosquito-borne diseases. Trained mosquitoes allow scientists to conduct experiments under controlled conditions, which is critically important for developing effective protective measures. But the price of this research is high. Mosquito trainers constantly risk their health. Bites from thousands of mosquitoes can lead to serious allergic reactions, not to mention the risk of contracting dangerous diseases. Even with all precautions taken, this work remains one of the most dangerous in the scientific world. Imagine a job where your main duty is hugging trees. No, this is not a joke or a script for a comedy film. This is a real profession that shocks with its unusualness and makes you think about the boundaries between science, ecology, and perhaps madness. Tree-hugging specialists are not just eccentrics who spend their days pressed against tree trunks. They are scientists, ecologists, and even psychologists who study the impact of trees on the environment and human well-being in the most direct way through physical contact. But what does a workday of such a specialist look like? Imagine, you come to a forest, choose a tree and hug it. But not just like that. You measure your physiological reactions, pulse, blood pressure, stress level. You analyze the chemical composition of the bark, study microorganisms living on the tree. You even try to hear the tree, using special devices to register electrical impulses in the trunk. Sounds crazy? But the results of these studies shock the scientific community. It turns out that hugging trees can indeed reduce stress levels, improve immunity, and even help in treating some diseases. And data on communication between trees through root systems and fungal networks force us to reconsider our understanding of the plant world. But the most shocking thing about this profession is society's reaction. Tree-hugging specialists often face misunderstanding, ridicule, and even accusations of charlatanism. They constantly have to prove the scientific value of their work, balancing on the edge between serious research and what many consider esoteric practices. So the next time you see someone hugging a tree in the park, don't rush to laugh. Perhaps before you is not an eccentric, but a scientist whose work could change our understanding of nature and open new ways for treatment and environmental conservation. Think your job sometimes stinks? Meet a profession that will literally make you smell reality. Armpit sniffer. Yes, you heard that right. This profession actually exists, and it's much more important than you might imagine. Armpit sniffers are an integral part of the deodorant and antiperspirant industry. But before you start envying these lucky ones, let's consider what this job actually entails. Early rise. Your workday starts at 5 a.m. Why? Because armpit odor is most intense after a night's sleep. Strict diet. Forget about garlic, onions, and spicy food. Your diet must be as neutral as possible to avoid affecting test results. No personal space. You'll spend hours with your nose buried in other people's armpits. Personal space? Forget that concept. Constant threat of fainting. Some odors are so strong they can cause dizziness or even loss of consciousness. A helmet and insurance are your best friends. Social isolation. Try explaining at a party what you do. I smell armpits for money isn't the best way to start a conversation. Occupational diseases. Chronic runny nose, allergies, and even loss of smell, that's what might await you in the future. Continuous learning. You must be able to distinguish hundreds of odor nuances. It's like wine tasting, only not quite. Stress resistance. When you're sniffing the 60th armpit of the day, you need to maintain professionalism and concentration. Lack of career growth. Where can you advance from the position of armpit sniffer? Chief sniffer? Constant misunderstanding. No, Mom, I can't just switch to another job. This is my calling. Despite all these perks, the profession of armpit sniffer remains in demand. After all, someone has to make sure your deodorant works. So, if you have a keen sense of smell, aren't afraid of unusual odors, and are ready to sacrifice your social life for science, this might be your dream job. Remember, behind every fresh scent stands a sniffer who sacrificed their nose for your comfort. Are you ready to become the hero we don't deserve but desperately need? The world of armpits awaits you. We've taken an exciting journey through the world of the most unusual professions. We've seen that work can be not just a source of income, but a real adventure. So, if you ever feel that your job is too ordinary, remember these amazing people. Who knows, maybe your true calling is also waiting for you somewhere beyond the familiar.